And welcome, everyone. So, yeah, we got a small intro about me. I'm an angel investor and startup advisor. And please tell us about yourself, Anne-Christina.
Yeah, so I'm Anne-Christine. Everyone calls me AC. So I have a company that we do executive search, focusing on post-Series A companies that are scaling. I founded the company myself almost 10 years ago. We work with over 250 companies and done a lot of, so our specialty is global rollouts. So companies like Uber, Airbnb, their global rollouts, also like Deliveroo, Zalando, HelloFresh. So those are some of the companies that we've helped scale and in more than 50 countries. So born digital and global. And I also co-founded an accelerator program last year focusing on inclusion and diversity in tech.
Super. And what about
Cool.
you?
My name is Akim. I'm originally from Estonia. Started coding when I was 12 years old, and then got a banking and finance degree, and founded two companies. One intercity bus operator in Finland called Onnibus, the largest bus operator there, and identity verification platform in Southeast Asia. So all companies been acquired. And then moved back to Estonia and started to invest on my own. Invested in different companies and two funds. And co-founded Fund Fellow Founders, which is FFF.vc, not friends, fools, and family, but Fund Fellow Founders, the tech angels community, cross-border. We invest together with the tech executives, founders, C-level tech professionals to the startups from Baltics and Nordics.
Awesome, impressive. So let's get started. In your opinion, based on your experience and based on the advice you provide other founders, what are investors looking for in world-class teams?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can start. I mean, there's no one question to that. I think the key is also like, what stage are you at as a company? And also a big question for early stage companies is basically what can you afford? And that's terrible, but that's reality before you have funding. But typically around Series A, that's when you do start to hire like more professional people from the outside. And I think for the investors, it's really about them having the confidence and faith in the team that the team can bring the company to success. I mean, they're just looking out for their investment. So I think a key point, especially when you're putting together founder teams, but also later stage, is that you have the different areas of the company covered. And I say that because, like, so for example, if you're two founders that are both, like maybe have business backgrounds, or if you're two founders that have tech backgrounds, I mean, then you're only covering that area. Then maybe you're commercial or you're technical, but what about the other areas? So I think it's very important that you complement each other and you put together teams or get people involved that complement the founders very early on. So you cover the different like functions or areas. But I'd say initially it is mainly tech and commercial that the investors will look at. And oh God, I can go on and on, but maybe you can, and then we can maybe talk about the soft skills afterwards.
Yeah, just trying to remember my own personal journey and then relate somehow on the founders we are looking on the daily basis. You have to be critical to yourself, and before you like pitch to investors, you have to think about the founders' dynamic, founders' intelligence, integrity, and your own energy as well. So, like if you are critical to yourself, and you basically set up the high bar of for your personal development, and you set up the personal development goals, I feel you can go very long without any investors. So why I'm saying that, because I have seen the companies which raised early on because they got really good technology, but the founders' dynamic been really bad, and they didn't learn the market. I seen those founders who are super brilliant, but they didn't have some like soft skills, for example, to pitch themselves to the investors. So I feel first you have to be critical to yourself, expand your own skills, your own competitive advantages, and then only pitch. And then on the investor side, like in my own due diligence principles, there are first 4 points, which is, again, for founders' intelligence, integrity, energy. How are they? Can they actually attract the best talent, and do they have the right wide network of those like great candidates? And can they pitch themselves as well? So, which is super important. Like Karel Kotkas today pitched about himself, about the culture on this stage, and he did it very, very great. And you trust the person. You believe that he's able to attract the best talent and clients. So this is the first things first, and then I believe that then technology, then other parts.
Yeah, your biggest asset in the beginning, and actually all along the way, it's your team. It's the people around you that can make decisions, that can strategize with you, that can support you, and so on. So, being myself an investor, sometimes I make some quick decisions on the spot, and it's definitely because of the team. Because you look at them, the way they present. Because the way they present, if they can articulate very quickly what they're doing, who they're doing it for, in a very like a short pitch of 1 to 3 minutes, you're like, these guys, they can sell to me, they can sell to anybody. And you look at the chemistry. So this is like really soft skills of, and nuances that you get from that first meeting. It's not just, of course, then after that we look at the numbers, the traction, but it's like these things that I don't know how we can, talk about them, where it's like this thing that comes out of them, the passion, the purpose, the focus, the laser focus in their eyes, where they talk to you, they're just sharp. So this is part of the soft skills that you can practice and you need to have in mind. The way you present, when you have that chemistry, how do you share the stage? How do you share the meeting? How do you complement each other?
It's actually a shame because when you look at startups that are fundraising, and we also with Accelerator Program, we work with lots of startups that are fundraising. It's a shame because it's not necessarily the best technology or product that will get the funding. It's often the companies that are very good at pitching. Yep. So if it is technical founders, it can be a good idea to either match up with someone who's good at pitching, or maybe like an advisor or even an early stage investor to help. Or do a pitch training course, because we have also seen really good results with that. It really makes a big difference.
And it's not only about the soft skills as well, because sometimes we look into the different data rooms, and data rooms most of the time consist of not only pitch deck, one-pager, financial model, the like IP-related legal documents, and so on and so on. And most of the times they are poorly performed. So. In order to build like really robust financial model, you really have to spend like 1 week of modeling it properly, especially if you don't have in-depth knowledge of your niche. It's going to be hard to collect all those inputs, or variables, which have dependencies between each other. So, and if you don't have this particular skill, like of modeling, it's pretty much hard to be different in the eyes of investors. So try to imagine, like I get 100 pitch decks, then the funnel goes. I speak with the founders. I basically screen and chat with them, and then 50 people goes to another bucket of the funnel. Then I look into the due diligence, and here this is the most challenging part. Is to actually not only be on top in your numbers, MRR, user acquisition, the churn rate, or any metric which is super important on this stage, but also on how you performed it. So how did you prepare those documents? Do you have the fundamental experience of building those? And most of the time, what founders do, if they want to be on top of those things, I have seen that many of those gave the shares to, or the advisory advisory pool to the people from McKinsey or from Ernst & Young or PwC who actually doing it for every single day. Yeah. So, and it's worth to mention that you as a founder or any VP level person, you basically don't have all of the skills, and it's totally fine.
So it takes me to my next question, actually. How do you surround yourself with the right people? How do you build an advisory board? How the advisory board is helping you, can support you in the process of fundraising?
I can start from the small scale, I believe, and you can continue post round A, post B. Yeah. Well, this is like the principle of why we created this FFF.VC. So if you go and check, it's basically a community of more than 100 members nowadays, and all those members are coming from different scale-up companies like Pipedrive, Vice, Bolt, Starship, Swedbank, and so on. Those people have different fundamental skills. So some of them been scaling up the sales recruitment teams, some of them been building engineering teams, and taking, like, I actually love how Karel again presented on the stage this morning. He said I don't know anything about how in depth all those guys are building the things. Like, I just rely on their experience. So early on, if you are pre-seed stage startup, you basically better to open your advisory pool, allocate there 3, 4, 5%, and give away 0.2, 0.3, depends on your valuation, to the really key people from your network. Or you can basically, I've been approaching those guys through LinkedIn, just basically writing down, hey, I'm shit in financial model, can you help me? I'm ready to give the shares. So, and then you get all those people, they know other people, and that's how your network already grows. And most of the time, having those shares, people just gonna bring you another people later on. So I believe that nowadays the cash is not really important early. Your level of connections and the network is more important than the money. Because if you imagine you gave away 3% of your advisory pool to 6 people from scale-ups, they know hundreds or even thousands of other people who they worked together before. They definitely gonna suggest you some head of sales or head of recruitment or even culture person. They will help you. So I feel this is exactly what we are doing in FFF, and it works. We funded 4 companies. We just started in January, and actually a company who is supporting this event called Votemo. So you must probably seen, and Marit, Dagmar, and Dennis been exactly in this stage. They came to us with some necessary, hey guys, we need engineering team. So, okay, let's set it up, let's make the deal, let's fundraise afterwards if you reach the milestones. And that was the story. They showed that, well, they are ready to give away some small piece. We advised them. They got engineering efforts, they got strategy guys, they got some sales materials for them. And then once they reach the milestone, we fundraised for them. So all starts from right people early, and then only cash. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I would say, when you start with that, it also helps further along down the line, because when you are, initially you are hiring people for your own network, and probably also quite young people and interns. Then in terms as you grow and make money and also raise money, that's when you need to hire more professional profiles or more experienced profiles. And it does help if you already have the advisory board or just a board and also investors, definitely leverage off that network. But I would say for every stage of the company, I think the key thing is to really map out who do you have on the team, it can be the initial founders, but also as the company scales, really map out who do you have and who are you missing on the team. And having that like having your hiring and growth strategy, that also helps with investors. It's funny how a lot of people forget it when they are fundraising. They're like, oh, this is the current team. They typically put a few advisors on there, and that's it. But a lot of investors want to know, okay, be open about, I mean, if you are, pre-seed or seed, everyone knows, of course, you don't have everyone on your management team. So who are you missing? What types of profiles are you looking to hire? How are you going to scale the company? What's the plan? And typically, a lot of the funding that you get, a percentage of that will go towards hiring. So the investors want to know, who will you be hiring? Of course, not necessarily the actual person, but the profile and maybe also the skill set of that person. What will be their responsibilities? And also, in the early stages, and even, going on LinkedIn and identifying those profiles, asking them to meet up for a coffee. That's what you do initially when you're bootstrapped, going to lots of events, spreading the word. Then at a later stage, and you can also try with job ads. Of course, when you're later stage, that's when you also start using external search firms. But I think initially it's more through networking and spreading the word, and then always ask your investors, advisory board and board members, and also your team members, if you already have, even if it's junior people, if they can recommend people. It's really through the network that you get the best people to join early on.
Something we were talking about just when we were preparing this talk. What about the advisors who are at an early stage, of course, as a startup, you're a bit scared to give away your shares because you don't know how, you don't know if these people will commit to you, you're getting to know each other and so on. So some startups end up having tons of advisors that they are proud to present to investors. And we're talking about it in that sense that investors will also ask you, what are these people really doing? What's their role? Why are they there? I know it sounds maybe obvious, but we're sharing this because we've seen it too many times on pitch decks where you have 10 advisors and you're like, oh, come on, we all know you're not doing anything with them. So bring maybe fewer advisors and give them specific tasks and justify what they're doing within your company, and also give them equity, because also when we know that you're not giving them anything, there is no skin in the game for them, they're going to go away. Why would they stick with you? Seriously, think about it. So give them something. Be generous with your equity. Don't with your employees. Be generous with your co-founders. Be generous. Don't think about it like, this is mine. I built it. I came here 3 years ago, so I should own 80%. Well, without the others, what are you going to build? So split it, even if you've been doing this for 3 years. Maybe just I've even seen some founders who, the good ones that are still around, just the founder is keeping just 1%. It's just symbolic because he came up with the idea, because he created the company. And when he gets everybody else, he's really generous in building something with the newcomers.
And I think with that, it's very important because I've also, you also see the opposite where companies have given out percentages to advisors that actually added no value.
Yeah.
So I think the key, and also with employees, early employees that actually didn't add much value and end up leaving. So I think the terms are very important with the people that you hire early on. Really have, what is the commitment? Also, what happens if someone leaves the company? Because there's nothing more annoying than that you've given out percentages of someone to work and then they leave and then, you're stuck with nothing. So I think really the terms, and also get to know people before. Also with advisors, it's fine to have a trial period or have some meetings, see the value and then decide, and also maybe have some KPIs or milestones or something, some commitment. And that goes both advisors and employees, to be honest, as well. So there is that discussion beforehand. So you're not just getting everyone on board and giving away, but there's people that really add value that you also get along well with.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about what investors want to see in a team, but what do startups, what should they see in investor? What is smart money really these days? How can they profile their investors? Can they just are we just accepting any money, or how are we selecting our investors as a startup?
I think that's also, again why you need to get to know the investors. I mean, you can't just because you get a good deal, maybe what seems a good deal, and then you read the fine print, then maybe it's not as attractive initially. You need to get to know them, and you need to understand how else are they helping the company as well? What are they coming with? A lot of the big VCs, I mean, you get them on board because of the brand name, and you can also sometimes be strategic about the fact that it's not just, the valuation or the money that you're getting. It's everything around it. Honestly, and that's why people join companies like Y Combinator or even get high-profile VCs at worse terms, because you get more value out of it. Even just having that, having them on board, having that brand behind you will add so much value. So you really have to assess, what are you getting out of it? And also, but on the flip side, you don't want a big brand name that then you don't get any help or anything because you're just one out of hundreds of other startups. So do your due diligence on your investors as well.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, I feel another kind of use case. So if we are talking about, like I already mentioned Karel and Verifia multiple times, but if you decompile, does everyone knows Verifia? Yeah, amazing. So if you decompile their journey, and we look into the timeline, so the first founders hustle a lot on their own. So they basically started to build the company, created the first product. Of course, they consulted with some of the guys, and they made the sales, and they got the first traction. And then I do remember how we've been started to be on every single paper in the single event. They started to be like boosting a lot without any money raised that time. So, and then I was like, okay, so who is posting and reposting all the time about Verifia and saying good words about them? And I started to look into the LinkedIn, Twitter mentions, hashtags, and so on. And I recognized that I know one guy who is actually doing it really, really often. And this guy was Ragnar Sass. So most probably everyone knows Ragnar Sass. Ragnar is great. So, and Ragnar is basically co-founder of Pipedrive, the marketing guy. And then I realized that, okay, so he's doing it for some reason. So I met Ragnar, and in the dialogue, I realized that the Verif granted the share, the small, really advisory share to the Ragnar, and I realized that, okay, so the guy actually gave them his network, the positioning. He created the story in the local ecosystem in order to create the funnel for future recruitment, as well as the trust. He created the trust to the founders, because if Ragnar is saying something, most probably it's legit. Mm-hmm. So, and then you basically see how it evolves. And I feel it's not only about the terms. Raise the hand who is actually been drafting the advisory agreement. Okay, so it's not too many people, yeah, because it's super important. Yeah, we are talking about advisory board here, but really few people been drafting it themselves, and it's actually a document of 5, 6, 7 pages, and it's legal document. So, and if you make it right and you put the terms, and if you put it in the right way to motivate the person to actually commit the X amount of time during the next 3-4 years, then you're gonna do it right, and then you're gonna basically motivate the person. And the milestones have to be really clear. The what you return back for this time should be very, very clear as well. So, and this was the case for Karel and Ragnar. So, and Ragnar did a great job, because already in 3-4 months in the recruitment spree, they got 300 people on board. So this is how you set up the expectations from as a founder with your advisor or future advisor. Then you create the milestones, then you track the performance, and then you see the real value. And the value is not only on the building something, but also about talking about you, because it's also creates more trust on the market, and then people more eager to talk with you, and then you can do whatever you want. So it's just a small example. It's thousands of those. Airbnb did the same. A lot of companies. I believe all unicorns similar path here.
Thank you. We have 4 minutes left, so I would love to hear from the audience. If you have any questions, please raise your hand.
There's actually a couple of... Can I have a mic? There's actually a couple of questions from the app.
Super.
So I'll go through 2 questions from the app. A very good segue from the Ragnar. How to find a way to surround yourself with the right people?
Actually, a good idea. Honestly, like most countries have accelerator programs. And I think when you are early stage, it really makes sense to look, what are the most popular accelerator programs and try and become part of them. I mean, of course, not everyone can necessarily join, but that can add a lot of value to part of the right programs. Also go to events like this. I mean, you need to go out there. You need to network. You need to meet people. It requires a lot of work, a lot of time, but really putting yourself out there. And then I would also say reaching out to people on LinkedIn, and then suggesting coffee, or maybe even offering them a lunch or something to meet up.
Yeah, exactly. Join the communities. Most of the time, you don't need the community of like 1,000 people, but those most of the time the quality, not quantity-driven communities are more responsive. You have this intimate atmosphere within the members, and this is exactly what we are looking into FFF.vc. So I feel this is one way. And another one is train yourself, pitch everywhere. So pitch to like people you sit together on the right. If you actually like, if all of you right now turn left and pitch your idea to someone who is sitting on the left,
You might have a connection.
Or on the right, you're already gonna get 2 connections. And it's super easy, yeah? But like in northern countries, all the time we have like this, I don't want to disturb the person, but anyway, like it's super easy. You just have to say, hi, my name is Akim, I'm doing FFF. So, and it's fairly straightforward, because you already spent the money to come to this conference. Just calculate your time. So if you spend 300 euros and you are staying here for 3 hours, so you basically gave away 100 euro for 1 hour. So, and if you are not gonna make any connections in this hour, you're just gonna lose 100 euros, isn't it? So as easy as that. If you're gonna calculate your time in a matter of money, so maybe it's going to make some difference.
Take something back.
Exactly.
But I can also understand, I mean, I think we're all natural networkers, but not everyone is, and it can be very intimidating. But that's also why it's nice that there are apps out there like the Brell app and LinkedIn and other online platforms where you can reach out to people. But I mean, I would definitely say always go out, talk, meet people. Remember, everyone you meet knows other people. So I think because sometimes people can be a bit too transactional focused, like, oh, I only want to meet an investor. I don't care about anyone else. So they ignore the people, and then they can't get access to the investors. Yeah. But like, you meet someone and then they know an investor. You make a good impression. They recommend you. You meet someone that has a network. So yeah, it's about building up the network and remembering that everyone knows someone else, and treat everyone with respect as well.
Actually, the trick is that if you connect, this is based on my personal kind of opinion, and this is what I feel and I see talking with other investors. So if you connect directly with other investor, your conversion rate to acquire this investor or even get on the call going to be less than if you ask your friend or friend from community who is building another startup to connect you with with the investor, with the same guy. Because like if you know how investors think, so you have different buckets: outbound leads who are coming from email. So you are writing to me saying, hey, I'm the startup, I'm doing this and this. Another one is, so it's inbound, sorry. Then outbound, I'm looking to the other guy. I'm writing to Ragnar. Hey, Ragnar, you are doing something. La la la. I want to be part of this. And there are the connections. So how do you think, what companies did I personally invested into, to those who actually came from connections? And I actually don't remember, I believe there is no in my personal portfolio, those direct ones.
We still have time for one more question. I search for 2 extra minutes. Yes, can we get the microphone here? Coming.
Hello. So you were talking about advisors and giving out share capital to your employees, co-founders, being generous with all that. So my question is, if at some point, like you're being bootstrapping, giving out the equity, and you start raising capital, and you have the situation where you have a lot of advisors with the equity or some employees who quit at some point. So as an investor, or what happens? What are you going to do then?
So
oh, sorry. No, I was saying the key is you don't want too many of them. I mean, I think that's what's key. Like, you don't want 10 advisors. You don't want to give out equity to everyone that works in your company. You have to find the ones that really add value and give to them. And what we see commonly now, or it will become more common, is you have to find out, you have to be very clear on the terms when people leave, like if it's employees, when they leave a company, what happens? A lot of them actually lose their equity now.
Okay, so just to specify more, I think everything is like fixable. So in the sense that if you come in, you see that the cap table is how it is. Like, I understand it's not a good idea to have 100 advisors with the equity, but if you come as an investor, you see there's potential, you want to fix it. What do you do then, or what happens then?
You can offer to buy.
Yeah, first of all, you can offer to buy those shares, to make the buyout. Same time, all those advisor agreements have the vesting. So, and I never seen, like if you grant to 10 advisors with a proper vesting based on milestones, maybe only 3 gonna convert to the real like shares. And this is like the conversion. People tend to be not really systematic. That's for sure. So buyouts, or of course, if they did a really great job, just keep it, and investors gonna understand why you keep them, because it's a gratitude, and you basically if you're gonna say this guy helped me 2 years ago to come to the 10,000 MRR, and he is there, he is in the cap table, I'm gonna say yes, he deserves that, or she. So most of the time.
But at the same time, if they see some people who have contributed just a few months, but they're still on the cap table and have a quite heavy share in the company, this might create some issues with the investors, because they would then challenge your capabilities to manage a team, to give away equity, and to be able to negotiate with team members and co-founders and advisors.
Okay. Very exciting talk, and I think this is the start of many, many talks during the day as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for all the questions.
Thank you.